So Levi, where we at today?
Okay, we are at Genesis chapter 4, verse 9 to 26. In verse 10, we read of the blood of Abel crying. What was the blood of Abel crying for?
Justice.
That's a good one.
Yeah. It doesn't say what it's crying for.
Yeah, I mean, from what I read from the other passages, it simply means, yeah, like you said, he was crying for the justice and vengeance. I guess for me, I wouldn't have guessed it without reading from other people. Let's read Hebrews 12, verse 24.
And to Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant, and to the sprinkled blood that speaks a better word than the blood of Abel. Isn't there a worship song that's like, your blood speaks a better word. Dun, 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 dun. Jesus, it's your blood. It might be love. I don't know. They all sound the same.
I know the song, but the words are not coming back completely. They're not coming back.
Okay. Do you need me to keep a finger in this verse?
No, it's fine. But yes, what do you think of that verse in relation to Cain and Abel? Can you read it one more time? Oh, so it's fine. Okay.
I'll find it for you.
No, it's okay. I think I have it written down here.
It's here.
No, I have it.
I found Hebrews again. And to Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant, and to the sprinkled blood that speaks a better word than the blood of Abel. So Cain says to God, the punishment is more than I can bear. And God says, no, if anyone kills you, the vengeance will be sevenfold. So when I read that, I was like, wow, that's gracious of God. Like, literally, he has no reason to be kind to Cain, but he is. And then I read later, Lamech saying, if Cain's revenge is sevenfold, then Lamech's revenge is 77-fold. And that reminded me of the disciples asking Jesus how much they should forgive, which reminds me that Jesus's forgiveness is even greater than all these things. Yeah.
And I think that also brings about the point of revenge belongs to God.
Yeah.
Because Cain did not do a right thing. And yet we see God here protecting him. And then that's when he says, I will put a mark on you so that anybody who kills you, something would happen, I think.
Yeah. Yep. The mark of Cain.
So the Hebrew word for mark, which is used there, could mean a sign or an omen, a warning or a remembrance. They said it's the same word which was used for the rainbow. But so we don't really know, like with Mark, was it like a physical sign, or I don't know, it was just something God did put on him, which only he knew.
Yeah, that's interesting. The land of Nod, which is where Cain settled, Nod means wandering.
Oh yes.
I just think Nod is such a funny name for a place.
Wait, you're saying Nod means wandering? That's verse 16, right?
Yeah.
How come wherever I searched, it told me Nod means shaking or trembling?
Maybe that's another definition.
And so it shows the restlessness and uneasiness of his own spirit.
Wouldn't restlessness and uneasiness also be wandering? Because you're restless if you're wandering.
Oh, but it said shaking or trembling. Okay. Shaking or trembling.
Did you write down where you got it from? Because mine is from the ESV study Bible in my lap.
Well, when I search, I take all the books from the whole world's library.
Wow. Amazing.
No, I can't remember where I got it. I think it's from one of the books I got from church. But
Matthew Henry, maybe?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's one of those like Jewish plays on words. I feel like there's a lot of Jewish play on words that have multiple meanings. Hebrew, sorry. Wow.
What did
Jewish
you say?
is the people group.
Oh, I see.
Hebrew is the language.
I see. So, verse 17, Cain gets married to somebody. Where did Cain get his wife from?
That's a great question. I feel like I've heard people say it was his sister. Because, like, where else would he get a woman from?
Genesis 5 verse 4 tells us that Adam had other sons and daughters.
Okay.
And I think there is some argument about, no, God didn't want you to marry your own sister or your own family, but that law actually came later in Leviticus chapter 18.
Yeah. I feel like this even... So, if Adam and Eve had never sinned, genetic issues wouldn't be a problem. However, because they did sin, it was like inevitable that humans would get worse and worse because there was only this people with the same genetics to mate with. So I'm saying, I think that if Adam and Eve had never sinned, God would have protected human genetics from error. But because sin had entered the world, human genetics were now open to error. And so probably intermarriage of families just sped along that error.
You can move over to verse, what's the next verse? Oh, verse 19.
Okay.
Which is a sad verse because it becomes... Lamech becomes the first man to take 2 wives. I guess that's just the thing in verse 19.
That is sad. That's the first polygamous relationship. I do not think I'd like to have another wife.
Oh, you are not going to have another wife, isn't it?
I know. It just makes
you
me
can't
feel
have a wife. I don't know what inspired him to have a second wife, though.
I don't know.
If the world was already small and few people.
Yeah.
Lamech goes on to boast in verse 23 and 24 about him killing people just like his ancestor, just that he was worse than Cain, which is very sad.
Yeah. Poor Lamech. I guess this reminds me of... What's the right word? Your, not testimony. What you leave behind.
Inheritance?
No.
What you leave behind where?
To other generations. Like what Lamech is now known for in the Bible.
Or your legacy?
Legacy, thank you. Lamech's legacy is that he had 2 wives and boasted about killing people. So, yeah, it just reminds me of the importance of, like, not that other people's opinions need to drive everything we do. I think honor for God should be a big motivation, but what other people think about us is important. Like, do you want to be known for these types of things, or do you want to be known for serving God? Because people see what you do with your life. So it's sad that this is all he's known for in the Bible.
Yep. Anyway, chapter 4 ends on a good record of people calling on the name of the Lord. Can you just read for me the end of... Oh, it actually says that...
Yeah. At that time, people began to call upon the name of the Lord.
Yeah. Which means, like, from Cain, I guess from Cain and how he had wandered off, I guess whatever route he took and the people who came after him were sort of different from what remained from Adam and Eve, who then later had Seth, and then that lineage kept on calling on the name of the Lord.
Yeah. I've heard people theorize that Job was written during this time. Have you heard that before? Okay.
The Job was probably written first before Genesis and the other. Yep.
Yeah.
What inspired you to say that?
Because verse 26 is talking about people beginning to call upon the name of the Lord. So that could have been people like Job, which it's interesting because people that this verse is referring to did not have a lot of information about God. All they had was the story of Adam and Eve and the story of Cain, if that was passed down to them. So I think it must have been really interesting to believe in God based on those just such a small picture of who God is.
But don't you think Adam and Eve had passed down what they had to Seth and then Enosh?
Yeah, that's possible.
Okay.
But still, like, I guess it feels different when, like, I'm sitting here today with the entire Bible sitting in my hand. And so thinking about, like, not only did no one had personal scripture, it was just stories and what their parents had told them, which I guess also underscores the importance of teaching your children the ways of the Lord.
Yep. That's a good point. Because if Adam and Eve had not passed down to Seth and then Enosh, then maybe they would not have called upon the name of the Lord. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, let us end here for today.
I had one quick question. In verse 17, it talks about Enoch. Is that Enoch? Like the Enoch, is he the Enoch that gets taken up to heaven?
Oh, I thought you meant Enoch in South Africa, and I was like, that's not that Enoch. Well, that answer will be probably answered in chapter 5 when we
Okay.
talk about Adam's descendants.
Okay. Got it. So our song of the week is Nothing But the Blood by Matt Redman. I was just reminded of it when you shared the verse from Hebrews. And I think it contrasts well. We were talking about Cain's blood today and the blood that Lamech shed. And so this song is talking about what Jesus did for us through his blood. And it quotes the verse in Hebrew that we had talked about.
Mm-hmm.